Alrighty, chill investors. All right, guys, I wanted to talk and go over a trade, okay? Not a trade that we're in, but a trade that I want to make live on camera. Um, Making live on camera can be a little tough just because the market's not always exactly doing what I want it to do in the exact moment, meaning I would like ONDS at this current moment to be red, which it was, and then it's green, and then it's red. So we're just going to go ahead and make the move. Whether or not you guys can get a better opportunity, probably. Okay, and that's just how it works, right? You buy, and the stock goes, does what it does, opposite of what you were thinking it was going to do initially. Okay, so what we're going to go over is part of the wheel strategy. Okay, and this is to the next step of the wheel strategy. So we're not just doing selling puts and selling calls, right? That's the standard wheel strategy. But how do we take the wheel strategy and go a little further? How do we go ahead and make a little bit more gains, right? Because the wheel strategy does limit you to the amount of gains that you're going to have, right? And we're okay with that. We understand what the wheel strategy provides us in an uncertain market as well. Okay, so what I want to look at is, let's first find where are the support levels, and let's look at ONDS's chart real quick. Okay, so we're gonna pull up a chart, and all right, and we're gonna bring it on back. All right, so we're at the monthly time frame. Okay, as of right now, our momentum meter is bullish. Okay, we are above the center line. We are chopping. We are going down a little bit on the monthly, but overall, the monthly takes a long time to develop, as you can see. Okay, it takes a long time to develop. By the time it tells you to get out, the price might have moved quite a bit. Okay, so I just wanted to know if the overall is bullish or are we bearish on this bottom part. Okay, and since there's no clear trend, like I can see this little trend, but I don't see like a long, right, drawn out trend line. I see a lot of choppiness as far as the bullish goes. So I don't believe that it's a start of a downtrend overall. I see a little curling, but this thing can continue pushing. It'll come down just like kind of did here, and then bounce up. So we have this little support right here. So if you drew a line right here, ultimately in the middle of those two, it's not going to be perfect with a momentum meter, but it came up, rejected it, right? It broke it, used it as resistance. So we need to make sure this holds. Now we're going to go down to the weekly time frame. This is my thought process. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that line. Okay, so weekly time frame, bearish. Okay, we see this bearish. We needed to see a little white bar to tell us that we're kind of starting to reverse the bearishness. But overall, we can see where our support is, these kind of fair value band lines. I prefer to use the 34 length, that one. So I'll hide the other one. Okay. So this value right here, that center line is $7. Okay. So $7 tends to bounce. Usually it actually follows that 21 value band. As you can see, touched there, and then has touched and held that line. But I want to see what worst case scenario kind of looks like to bounce off of the 34 value band, which is the typical one I like to see for pullbacks, because it just means a deeper, greater value that we were able to get in at. So 7's there, 750, which is I've kind of like pre-looked at with the option chain, obviously, to know that I wanted to make this video and make sure everything looked good before I went ahead and did it. But 750 being the 21 value band length there, and then 7. So, that 50-cent range. I'm not trying to time the bottom. That's not what the wheel strategy is about, okay? But I am going to go ahead and note in my mind 750, $7. Bottom of that band, if worst case scenario, is $6. So I just need to know what my worst case is. Okay, so that's what I got for the weekly. I can see it's negative momentum overall. The monthly is probably going to come down on that momentum and retest again, or test the moving average, the white line, which this would go ahead and could potentially bounce up. But we'll play it how it currently looks and not try to predict too much. Okay, so on our daily time frame, we are getting a add diamond. Even though the day is kind of red and green and it's kind of chopping, right? We are getting a add diamond on a green. Last time our add diamond on a light green held up very well, okay? Huge gain. So, not saying I'm going all in on this diamond because it's still not considered the most undervalued diamond we could get. Okay, so you have to still dollar cost average in, but it does look like today with the curling of a MACD with this crossover, I do get there is a resistance level right here. Okay, if I draw that line again, somewhere right there. Okay, it came down, tested it, bounced back up, came up to this white line, long white line, rejected it, came up to that line again, rejected it. Eventually, we're going to break this armor and it's going to go back up. Same thing, came down, rejected. So this seems like a pretty good line to make sure we break. Okay, so this is why I don't want to just buy the stock. What do I want to do? I want to go ahead and place a CSP. Okay, but if it does rally, I don't want to miss out on that rally, right? So we're going to look at a few things, but stay with me, all right? Don't go anywhere, I promise. So we can move these fair value bands. I like to use those really just for the weekly time frame. And then I want to go to our Master Elite, and I want to add the Bollinger Bands, all right? And we are at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands for the daily time frame. Daily time frame showing an 836 option, okay? So $8. We saw the weekly time frame was a 750. We do have the middle of the Bollinger Band sitting right at an $8. So 750 to me feels like a safe route to do a CSP initially. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at what a 750 CSP about 30 days out looks like here. Okay. So if I go ahead, I'm going to go to puts. I'm going to go to sell a put. All right. So it says 47. Let's see if its data's up to date here. Is it 47? It's 46 and a half. So I always go to the mid. If the spread is too big, right? This is only a 3-cent spread, not big. If it's a 10-cent, 20-cent, right? You kind of want to stay away from those just because the spread, the buyers just aren't there for it. And you can kind of get caught, right? So if you put the mid, you're kind of still far away from your ask, right? Like 20 cents away from the ask, right? You have to make up that 20 cents. Like you're already starting behind. So just go ahead with the tight spreads, okay? That's what we want. Okay. And I'm thinking for our portfolio, if we had to buy, you have to have the capital, however many contracts. So 100 shares at 750, I need to have $750 to buy one contract. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do, let's see, what does 10 contracts get us? Okay. That is going to get us $460 worth of premium with a total capital. I need $7,500. Okay. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go ahead and plug this in so you guys can kind of see what the payout would look like. So the current stock price, I don't know, roughly was 932. We'll just do 930. Okay. Strike price, I'm looking for a 750 strike. Premium was 56, 46, 46. Okay. Number of contracts, I'm thinking of 10. Expiration date was 03/20/2026. Okay. So even on my capital, that is a 6% return annualized. If I can do this every 30 days or so, that'd be a 72% return. Okay, guys, making big 72% wins does not need to look sexy. Okay, meaning it doesn't need to be a buy, hold, and it goes up 70% really quick. It can be a consistent 12 total trades and you can get to a 72% annual return. It does not require you to go ahead and make risky plays, buy stocks just straight up, right? You can play it this way and still have a great return. Now we're going to make this return even better. Well, potentially better. Obviously, the stock still needs to go up in order to be better, but long term, we have this mindset. So, one other thing, If you, we are partnered with Moo. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you guys can sign up. Link in the description. They have great information for you. Even if it's a small account, big account, doesn't matter. If you don't even want to use like your full account over there, you can go ahead and still deposit, I believe, to get full access to everything in Moo. I think is about $25,000 into an account, and then you'll have full access whether or not you are putting your whole account in there or not. It's good to have full access to everything. And what I want to show you guys, so I'm going to sneeze. Nope. Okay. Is unusual activity. Okay. We have unusual activity happening on ONDS. Okay. We had 3 orders, 1, 2, and 3, come in today on the 17th, buying calls for a $20 strike by June 18th, 2026. Okay. 3 of them. Okay. Well, how many contracts? 1,000 contracts, 1,500 contract, 2,000 contracts. Okay. They're buying them for about 50 cents a piece. That is roughly $140,000 in contracts. Okay. So I saw that. So I saw we had an ad on the stock. We had where our supports were. We had a monthly bullishness. We had a bearish weekly, but a bullish daily. Okay. So we got 2 momentums out of 3. Okay. We also have it being a CSP and not an ad, meaning we are okay if the stock goes down further. I'm sure I will do more of these contracts if the stock does go down further, closer to our 750. We have till March 20th. They have earnings in that time frame, I believe. Yes, they do. Okay. So we could see a drop, we could see a gain, right? On that earnings. I don't know. We can always close it early, right? But there is part of this game that I want to show you that can be a lot of fun. And look, right while we're just talking, I believe our premium went up just a little bit. There we go. So we're going to get this $470 for doing 10 contracts. Okay. I gotta sneeze. There it is. All right. What's the next part? What am I going to do with that $470? Well, if I was just doing the wheel strategy and not wanting to try to make more money with ONDS right now, I would just pull that $470 out and I would go ahead and pay whatever bills I needed to pay. But I want to make more, right? So ONDS has a lot going for it. They're really good at kind of sharing good news, meaning they don't stay quiet very long because they're still growing early on. They need to get investors excited about them. So what they do is they've already done an investors event. Then they raise guidance. Okay, guess what? Earnings, they're going to reiterate the guidance raised. They're going to back it up. They might even have a contract to throw out there. So do I care too much about the earnings? No, because we're on a CSP, but I can understand why it could be a catalyst. Okay. I'm not buying my full position here. What I'm saying is we're going to take this $470 and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to January, January 15th, 2027. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go here and take $470. Okay. And you can buy an option. Okay. People were buying the 20. Okay. They're buying the $20 option. Obviously, for a shorter term, I want a little bit more leeway with what's going on in the world and how the market's been reacting. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take that option, and instead of buying the $20 strike, okay, what we're going to buy, and I'm going to look at 2028s as well, but what I want to buy is something more like there's not a whole lot of activity here. The price hasn't changed. I want something on a little bit of a discount. So I'm somewhere between a 15. We could do the 20. 17 is not an attractive number. People really aren't excited to buy a $17 strike. They want the 15. They want the 20. They want the 10. They want these like numbers in your mind that you always say, I'll buy it for 10. I'll buy it for 15. I'll buy it for 20. I'll sell it for 10. I'll sell it for 15. I'll sell it for 20, right? Everyone says that. No one says, I can't wait to sell it for $17. That's not what they do. They say, I can't wait to sell it for $20. So that's what we kind of want to look for. Now I want to look at 2028, just to see kind of if there's a huge pay difference to buy it. So it's about double, about 50%. Because we were looking at the 20, right, and it was $2, okay, or $1.80. So $1.80 to 360. Is that what it is? Yeah, so roughly a double up. You get a lot more time, though, obviously, to hold for whatever may happen. But because we're using house money, I don't really want to be super safe on that part, right? Um, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and buy the 20. So what can I do? $470 if I'm going to go ahead and buy a $20 one, right? And I buy the mid. How much is it for one? Can't. So it's $189. Can I buy two? Right? You got 470. So now I just bought two contracts, leaps, for this to go to 20 by the end of the year, and I still get to keep an extra $100 roughly in premium. So I get to keep $100, I get to buy these contracts, and I get a potential to buy ONDS for $7.50 a share. That's what I'm working with. So that's what I want to do with the CSP. That's what I'm going to go ahead and place. Okay, guys. So we're going to go ahead and go to the March 20th. Okay. Again, as time goes on, if we get closer to 750, I will be doing this again. Okay. So this is just the start. This is just the first one. Okay. So let's see, where's our premium? Still at the 47 cents. I do want to take a look at the chart real quick and just see if our momentum on the shorter time frame, not looking at the chart, but looking at the momentum. So 30-minute, we did have a spike, but we did hold off on this resistance. So let's wait a minute. We might get a better opportunity. But the 1 hour, see, this is the part where if you kind of jump around time frames, you'll find what you want to find, which this is breaking out, right? But if I went to the 30-minute, it looks like, oh man, we're fighting resistance, right? So when you really are trading, you do want to stick to a normal time frame, just one time frame, two time frames. So for me, it's the daily and the weekly are the main two time frames I do stick with. I will take a look at a few other things. That's my dog. She's dreaming. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's funny. Alrighty. So we see the 15-minute chart. Okay. We are trending down. So we're going to see if we can go ahead and get some sort of drop here. It did seem to reject the 15-minute. Did seem to reject, hold. So I'm liking this chart as far as trying to time a better entry for our CSP and buying our leap. Okay. So that is what we're going to wait for. I'm going to hope that we can get something. Let's see, where's our golden Fibonacci? 917, 911, 9. So somewhere in this range, these low nines is what we're going to be looking for. I do think we should get the market to be a little red and get a better entry here. We can see momentum carrying down. 30-minute, we kind of see it giving up a little bit. So I do believe we will see a slight pullback. But that is how I would play our CSP. And then if you are bullish and you don't want to miss, instead of just holding on to premium, if you don't need the premium, you can go ahead and buy the leap option, right? Because stock goes down, awesome, you get shares, right? Then you can set covered calls, you can buy more of those leaps, right? That is what it does. I don't do that for all of my strategies as far as every stock goes, right? But I have to be bullish with some catalysts coming up for ONDS. Drone defense is a big sector right now. Lots of government contracts are being awarded, and it just seems that they're going to be taking the next step. They're already in a big drawdown from their high, right? Like it was recently $15. It's not like they weren't, they're close. I mean, it's still 40% drawdown. Like you're still getting a huge discount. What did we get here on this discount? Okay. We got a 58% drawdown there. Okay. So big drawdowns happen. We just need to make sure that you are buying in our, the correct zones. So this is a great point to start to add, especially on a CSP. If you want to be more aggressive, you can be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe we do 5 of the 9 and 5 of the 750. You can split it up that way. Then you have the middle ground. You're getting a little bit more premium. You can buy more options. A couple ways to do it. What I would do is the safer route, which would be the 750, because what happens if you don't get those shares and now you just have the leaps, right? Awesome. I have all my capital back and I was able to buy leaps without even having to give up any of my money. So that is a strategy. Go ahead. We will work on it more. If you guys have any more questions, just go ahead, join our Discord, join our community. If you want the indicators, there's tons of value in our indicators, because if you go here, guys, okay, take a look. We have, if I go to ONDS now, let me go here, we can see without having to chart anything, guys. I know it looks a lot of noise right here, okay? It looks like a lot of noise. I understand it looks like a lot of noise, okay? But if you break it down, it's not that much. You don't need that. That's not like something crazy I came up with, okay? So we do have the fair value band, okay? I use that for the weekly time frame. I don't really use it for anything else, okay? So we're on the daily time frame. Now we have the key levels, okay? Green is where smart money is loading up, okay? Smart money is loading up here. Smart money is loading up here. Now, smart money loading up here, and there's not a whole lot of support. You can see this blue-yellow, right? This is support and resistance. It's blue when it's support, and it's yellow when it's resistance, okay? So we have a little bit of resistance here. We have a little bit of resistance here. Makes sense. Previous high. So what do we see? We bounced, we rejected, we're going down further. Smart money loading zone, okay? The next true support is going to be, if a correction comes into place, $6. Okay. Also, where smart money is loading up. So you need to understand that, yes, although we are bullish on ONDS, that there's always a downside risk into a company. Okay. You just need to understand where your risk goes. Okay. So, for example, okay, we're here. Okay. Let's go back to our all-time high, 60% up. Okay. Let's go down here. We got a 40% down. Okay. So we still have more up than down. Okay, that's only to all-time highs. Technically to the trend line is what we want to see. Okay, we have a 40 or 86% upside. Okay, that is a double, right? We're just going to break it down, I guess. So 80s, 40% drawdown, 40% drawdown, 80% upside. Okay, we are looking at a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. I'm okay with that. We go ahead and I don't personally do stop losses. Okay. I believe in a company long term. I'm going to go ahead and invest in them. I'm going to hold through the noise. I'm going to buy more during the noise. That is what we do. Okay. So right here, I see the supports. I see the smart money. I see the Bollinger Bands. If you don't want to see the Bollinger Bands, go ahead and hide those. Just go here. If you don't want to see the trend lines, go ahead and close off the trend lines. Okay, if you don't want to see our bull bear line, meaning if the stock is above this, we are bullish. If the stock is below it, we are bearish. So you can hide that. Okay, we have labels. Okay, this is typically where trimming happens every time one of these labels populates, by the way. It's typically where some trimming or some covered calls happen. Sorry. Selling tends to happen here, which it's this said, right? Selling typically happens here, and sure enough, it did. Okay, happens here. Next day, it did not. Doesn't mean to do it. It just is telling you that this is when people start stepping in to trim or to sell. Okay, same thing. This is when people start to add and do CSPs. Sure enough, if you did ads and CSPs, you would have been buying that bottom up. Okay, so that's all the labels are there for. It doesn't require you to chart anything. This is all done automatically. You can have the legends show you everything, right? This is all automatic. Everything I pull up, the second I pull up a chart, I know exactly what's going on. IREN is right on the support line. Boom, there is more support here. It is saying do a CSP in this zone. We can see support is at the 35-36 area, so we could be looking for that. Just like that, I was able to read the chart, understand that we have our bull bear line support, which is going to be 30, and then if we lose that, we have it all the way back down here into the teens, okay? So understand that within a couple seconds of looking at a chart, I can understand exactly where it's going to go just by using our AI indicators, okay? Momentum is trending upwards from bullish or bearish to bullish. We see a slight curl happening here. If we go to the weekly time frame, okay, We had a little bit of a pop and then back down, okay, which makes sense. We usually go down, bounce up, go back down, okay. We are holding here. IREN's still a new company, so there's not going to be tons of support and levels on the weekly time frame, but overall, I think we are going to get a nice little bounce here off this trend line. We can do a CSP to play. So just like that, you're looking at the chart and seeing everything. Diamonds are just where the momentum has shifted. So we got bullish momentum here, okay? So every time we got that, look at bullish momentum, we trended up for 4 days, bullish momentum, trended up, okay, bullish momentum, and then we kept trending. Then you go ahead and get this trim, okay? This trim took over. If you added on all of those, this trim was higher than all of those. This trim was higher than all of those, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and wait for the next add signal, okay? This is telling us where buyers tend to step in. We need to wait for this diamond to tell us they did step in. Got it? So super excited for you guys. Go ahead and join. Try Moo out. There's great information. We'll go over more in later videos. Thanks, guys.